Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Dino Brothers podcast. I'm your host, Joe Bugs, joined by my man, Deuce Deuce.
What's up, dude? I'm back from the States. Had a nice little vacation, and we're here to talk basketball.
So the Raps had an up and down week last time, starting up and come crashing down, going 2-2 over the week with a win on Monday against Phoenix, win against ATL, the loss at home on a 20th anniversary night to Dallas, and another high-scoring shootout loss to the LA Lakers on Sunday night. What do you got to say?
Well, I was glad we got the wins against Phoenix and Atlanta, obviously. That Phoenix game was a lot of fun to watch. Uh, Dallas, I hate to lose that game, but they're a good team. But what really hurt us in that game was losing Demar, right?
Oh, obviously the Demar injury was huge.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, and then we played against the Lakers, and we didn't have Demar, but I feel like that wasn't what hurt us. What hurt us there was obviously Kobe just lit us up again. Couldn't stop him. And we played pretty bad defense all around.
The Black Mamba, man, that's just Kobe being Kobe, you know what I mean? And I'm still here, lighting us up. He always steps up against the Raptors and just crushes us.
Kobe hates the Raptors, man.
He hates Canada, man. Classic Kobe fashion. But in terms of the Dallas game, so I went to the game on Friday night, and it was a heartbreaker, man. Like, we did not play well. Like, we were in that game. We should have won it, but we just weren't playing good to either make it. We were letting them shoot a high percentage. And coming down the stretch, we could have, we could have climbed back and won it, but we just weren't playing well enough. That being said, I mean, the Mavericks are a great team. But sadly, we didn't come away with the win, and the highlight of the game was definitely seeing the throwback cheerleader outfits. Whoo,
Oh
buddy!
man, did you see that picture on Instagram of Kalina?
Oh, did I, bud? Her abs just looking nice and cut up. Got this emo sexy look looking off into the distance down into the lower bowl. Like that's art, right? That's high art right there.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Uh, but yeah, Demar went down in that game, and it sucks losing your number one, number two, whatever player. How do you think that's going to affect us going forward?
Well, I mean, it's disappointing. This is a pretty serious injury. I mean, he'll be back in whatever, over a month. Who knows how long it'll be? Quite a while. It is a pretty serious injury. I mean, even once he comes back and healed back and he's cleared to play, it's still gonna be, these groin things don't go away overnight. It's gonna be a nagging thing that he's gonna have to work through, and I'm sure it's gonna take probably till the end of the season before he's actually comfortable again and feeling back to his old self. So it's definitely, I mean, nothing good can really come of this.
Yeah, so he was diagnosed with what was it? Some kind of ligament tear. Is terrible.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
his groin basically. It ripped, the ligament ripped right off the hip bone basically.
yeah, so he's out minimum 4 to 6 weeks. Obviously, won't see him until the new year. Um, in the game against the Lakers, Dwayne Casey put in Grievous into the starting lineup. What do you think about that?
Well, so in terms of the DeRozan injury, obviously he's our 1A, 1B, whatever, one of our best players, no doubt. And we lost an all-star, so really nothing good can come of this. The only bright spot is potentially, we do have a lot of depth. We have a lot of guys that can step up and, hopefully improve their skills and get some different rotations so that come playoff time, we will have different matchups. Casey will be comfortable in some of his different lineups. That's the only plus side. But when it comes down to it, I mean, ultimately in the playoffs, what do we need? We need as many top tier stars who are just amazing and who can carry us, right? So really even building that depth and bench strength, it's an advantage, but probably not going to take us over the top in the playoffs. But that being said, with the Grievous lineup, I mean, I know some people. I read some articles in the Star and whatnot. They were just going crazy, saying, "Why are we starting Vasquez? We should be starting Lou. We should be starting anyone basically." but Vasquez, and I don't agree with that. I mean, we had a lot of success last year in the Lowry Vasquez lineup, and I think he's been playing well recently. Perfect, just to slot him back in there and see how he can do. And really, he's stepped up. He's played well so far. So I haven't been disappointed with that. I want to see more of that lineup and different looks. I mean, Vasquez isn't necessarily the answer, but I mean, I'm fine with him starting and getting his whatever 30 minutes, you know, in the starting lineup. So, what do you think?
Yeah, the Vasquez lineup, like it surprised me. I didn't really expect it, but I suppose it works. I kind of expected James Johnson to start, with the three, move Terrence to the two, and then you have a big wing defender to start the game. I wonder if Dwayne Casey will go with something like that against Sacramento to stop Rudy Gay. But what's really concerning me isn't really the starters. I'm more concerned about the fourth quarter because Demar gets us a lot of fourth quarter scoring. He gets to the line, he gives us that sort of steady production uh, that makes us the best fourth quarter team. And now we're going to have to move around that fourth quarter lineup to close the game because we didn't really play well at the end of that LA game.
Yeah, no, definitely not. The LA game was a very winnable game, and like you said, we just couldn't close it out. Lowry always does his thing in the fourth, but we do need other options if we want to be as efficient as we have been in the fourth and be able to close out those close games.
Yeah, I felt that Lowry was actually taking a few too many shots. I think he took like 28 shots in the Lakers game to get 29 points. I forget how many he took in Dallas. I think it was like 25. I'd like to see more Lou Williams in the fourth quarter. We know he can score in those tight clock situations, and he has no fear. So I'd like to see him just putting it up, getting to the foul line, doing work.
For sure, and I mean, two of the kind of not as good storylines from the Laker game was Terrence Ross just got exposed on the defensive end. Like he kind of semi-redeemed himself because he hit a couple threes in the fourth quarter, but he did not have a complete game. Or he got made look stupid a couple times. Kobe was just doing work on him, and kind of in the post too. I mean, Jordan Hill and Carlos Boozer were pretty effective, which is something that should not ever come out of my mouth. But it's the truth.
uh, yeah, Terrence got exposed, but honestly, Kobe's been in the NBA uh, like longer than Terrence Ross hasn't been in the NBA. Like he's just got so much more experience, and you saw he was just getting destroyed. On one play, Kobe drove by him, JV had to come and help, and then on the very next play, Kobe faked a drive, did a between the legs step back jumper, and just killed him. So I really think I feel like schooling inexperienced players is Kobe's specialty.
For sure. I mean, he is the Black Mamba, the master. He's got his old man tricks, so I mean, there's no shame in that. And I do like that at least Terrence has been stepping up to the challenge and he hasn't been backing down. So at least that's a positive.
Yeah, I hope he was taking notes watching the film because he got schooled and he's gonna have to learn a lesson from that. Um, on a brighter note, Dwayne Casey got Coach of the Month for November.
Which is a good, nice little storyline. First Raptors coach ever to win the award. And I mean, that being said, Dwayne Casey's winning percentage as the Raptors coach is .458, so below 500. And surprisingly, he has the highest winning percentage of any Raptors coach ever. So that pretty much sums up why he's the only one to ever win the award because his percentage overall is pretty terrible. But they've had a good run this season. But no, congrats to Coach Casey. I think no one could deny that he's done a good job up to this point this season.
Exactly. I think Sam Mitchell actually won it like one month, but whatever, who cares? Yeah, so the highest winning percentage for a Raptors coach is still under 500. That kind of tells you the kind of struggles we've had in our with our franchise over the past years. But you know what? He put together a winning season last year, and he's on track to have another winning season this year. Uh, that'll be a first for the Raptors, two winning seasons in a row. Um, but I'm kind of glad because I have like you have seen like an improvement in his coaching just over the course of the past couple seasons. Uh, better throwing better lineups out there, better use of timeouts, game management. And he's improving along with our players.
No, absolutely, which is, that's the positive part, and which is good to see. And I think in terms of, yeah, the X's and O's and being the players always have good things to say about him. So he's always been good on that end. Like you said, his game management and is what's really improved. So the positive sign. Um, so that being said, I wanted to mention a little run-in that I had at Friday's game when I'm at the ACC for the Mavericks game. So I'm just walking around through the ACC concourse. Just got a beer in my hand, feeling pretty nice, ready to take in a nice top quality matchup, see the throwback jerseys. And all of a sudden, I see this guy walking down the concourse. I'm like, oh shit, it's Jalen Rose.
Uh-oh.
So all of a sudden, I see he has about 3 or 4 trailers. Like one of them is like MLSC, kind of like his handler or whatever, who's kind of guiding him around. And then I don't know if there's a couple of people that were just his crew, a couple fans. So whatever, we see him approaching. So I'm like, oh, Jalen, how's it going, man? Uh, you're the man, just doing some small chat, or some small talk, having a nice little chat. And then all of a sudden, this random loser just comes in and like, starts elbowing me out and be like, "Oh, Jalen, man, I'm your biggest fan. Like, I love you on the podcast." I'm like, buddy, like, why are you just like leveling it up so much and just like cutting into my time here? And we're just having a bro man to man talk. He's like just some skinny white guy in like a toque and like, it's like, come on, bud. But you know, Jalen was giving the people what they want, and it was definitely shaking hands and kissing babies. So it was definitely good to see him at the game and see the little tribute montage that they had for him.
Yeah, I'm really jealous of that. I wish I could have been at that game. I would have loved to meet Jalen. I feel like he's almost made more of a name for himself after, for his post NBA career than. Well, he was a good NBA player, but I'm following him a lot more closely now than when he was in the NBA. That's for sure.
For sure. Well, I mean, because he probably peaked when he was at Michigan those years because they were one of the biggest, national stories at the time. Then, yeah, he kind of faded a little bit, but, the last 2/3 of his career were pretty good. He was a top, one of, a lower echelon of the top guys.
Yeah,
Uh,
he had some good years in Indiana and a couple good ones in Toronto. So
exactly. But for sure, getting back to the Raptors. So this week on Tuesday night, we're on the second game of our 3-game road trip, and we are in Sacramento, followed by Utah on Wednesday, and then back home on Friday when the King returns to the North and is going to get schooled by the Raptors. What do you think about this week's slate of games?
well, it's gonna be a lot harder because without Demar, just like everything just shifts down one, right? So their best defender, instead of defending Demar, is now defending like Terrence Ross or whoever. But Sacramento, I actually heard that DeMarcus Cousins will not be playing in that game due to a stomach infection. So,
Huge,
so that's going to help us because I'm sure he was looking forward to beating up on Jonas Valanciunas again after the FIBA tournament.
especially when DeMar is not there to protect him from getting punched.
Yeah. Utah, I feel like that could actually be a sneaky game because that's coming off a back-to-back, and it's going to be in the altitude in Utah, and that team, they're young and they have potential, and we don't have Demar, so we got to approach each game with like focus and defense. Like that's the problem with the Raptors all year. Like the defense comes and goes. Um, and then Cleveland, I can't wait to go to that game. I just want to see us battle it out with the King.
That's going to be a big game. Definitely looking forward to seeing LeBron in person for the first time.
Yep.
But I mean, I feel like the Raptors. I know Demar is a key cog in the wheel, and he is one of our best players. But I feel like we should be able to get by without him. Every team has one of their top two guys, go out at some point and get injured, and that's part of the tough 81 game schedules. Being healthy and still managing to put together a good season and get the wins that you need. So, with that depth, I think we should be able to get away without Demar and still rattle off some wins. Obviously, yeah, we're not going to be as good as we were, but we should still be a competent team.
Exactly. We have the depth to absorb this injury. I think it's just going to take a bit of an adjustment period to like refocus the team, make sure everyone knows their new roles, that people step up into their roles to make up for Demar's production.
Absolutely. So on another note, kind of getting back to the Black Mamba, of course he sets the record as the first player to have 30,000 points and 6,000 assists against the Raptors. Always in Kobe fashion, just putting down the Raptors somehow and just bigging himself up.
I actually follow Vanessa Bryant on Instagram, and as I was checking Instagram after the game, she put out a picture of Kobe with like a caption saying he scored like 30,000 points, 6,000 assists, whatever, and he got his 20th triple double. And she said, "I remember when you were trying to get triple doubles at the beginning of your career to motivate yourself." Just, twisting the knife of that loss a little bit deeper inside me.
That's what he does just for fun, man.
Yeah, so Kobe's gonna Kobe. There's nothing you
Yeah,
can do about it.
he's a killer.
Yeah.
So speaking of Instagram, I came across a pretty hilarious video which was on Steph Curry's Instagram. Have you seen this one yet? It's
No, I didn't.
Steph Curry and his wife. They're both standing next to the stove and they're like doing some cooking, and they have Drake on in the background, and they're both like dancing around, getting pumped up. So I definitely highly recommend you guys check that out. Right now it's just a teaser video. It's like a 10-second video, but apparently they're gonna release like some sort of full, I don't know, some sort of full Chef Curry action going on.
What's Steph Curry's Instagram? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't know the top. I don't know his handle off the top of my head.
All right,
But
I'll definitely have to check that out.
yeah, look that up
Here
and
we go.
tweet it out.
WSC_30. Oh, this might not actually be him. There's some pretty funny pictures here.
uh, you got the official. Well, we'll tweet that out or something after because people got to see this.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Did you get a chance to check out the tour of Amir's crib from Future Show?
I did. I did. What did you think of that?
I didn't get a chance to look at it. I only saw it come up in my feed.
Uh,
Give me
so I'll
your
give you a
opinion.
rundown. So what happened basically is, yeah, sponsored by Future Shop, baller status. They're going into Amir's condo in Toronto. So it's a pretty decent place. I mean, some highlights of his apartment is that he has the Nest thermostat, which he controls from his phone.
Oh, actually some people in my office just got that on sale for Black Friday.
He also has the Nest smoke detector and
Gotta be safe.
other. Exactly. So he's got a whole Nest set up, which he controls when he's on the road. Um, he's also got like cameras that he can remotely like um, view. I don't know. I guess his kids and his family and whatever when he's out of town. So he's all about this remote viewing. So he's on some shit. I know he mentioned that he had the Geek Squad come into his place and install the sickest new Linksys super fast router. He's got that popping in his crib. He's also got a Harmony remote for his TV, which can also control his Nest thermostat. So he's got a pretty decent media setup, but like his TV setup is pretty weak, I gotta say. Like the distance between his couch and his, I don't know how big his TV, it didn't look that big. It looked maybe 50-inch. Is probably like 5 feet.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like from the bottom of it, like from the whatever the bottom cushion of his couch to like the front of the TV is only like 4 feet in between there. So that's a bit soft. But he's a big time Xbox gamer. Um, what else? But overall, I mean, it's a decent condo. It's pretty interesting. I just like to, you know, hear these people describe their houses. Like, he's pretty funny. Like, he's not as smooth as he should be, but it's pretty good. And seeing his fridge too, he's got a stock with some Gatorade and stuff. So good on you, Amir.
I'll have to check that out. I do respect all that home automation, you know? It's nice to just keep tabs on things and just be able to play with things on your phone for no good reason.
And in this day and age, you got to do, if you're out of town, you got to turn down the temperature in your apartment a few degrees, save the environment, pinch some pennies.
Yep. All right, awesome. Good for Amir. Glad to see that the Raptors are getting their sponsorships in.
Exactly. So the next thing that I came across this week was all these discussions about conference parity, how the East and the West, are so unbalanced. The West, in terms of actual win-loss record, is just crushing the East this season. Kind of like the last couple years, but I mean, it's even more pronounced so far up to this point this season. So it's kind of become a point of discussion at some of these NBA meetings. So over the off season and recently, um, Mark Cuban was throwing around some ideas how he thought a good stopgap measure would be to realign just four teams. So pretty much most of the Texas teams, so like Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, put them into the Eastern Conference and move like a couple of the other teams. I think he did like Detroit, Milwaukee, um, and some other Central team, and try and move them to the West Coast to try and even it out just a little bit for next season and see how that goes. People haven't been too receptive to that idea. I mean, it could be a pretty simple stopgap. Um, there was this other article on Grantland by Zach Lowe, how he was going over just the whole idea of parity and um, what they could do to, make sure the best teams are getting into the playoffs and having a um, competitive playoffs. And some of the ideas he threw out there were, so, keeping everything the same, but just saying the seating is open across conferences. But then he was saying that really, what plays into that really, and it's not fixing the issue, is because of like the scheduling. So, right now it's even more pronounced that the East is worse because the East plays more East teams more often. They're just beating up on each other. When they play the West, they generally lose. Teams that are making it into, the eighth seed in the Eastern Conference are probably a few games below 500. Well, in the Western Conference, you're not making it unless you're exceeding 50 wins. And really just going over the issues, but to really revamp the way everything is set up sounds like a nightmare in terms of, there's geographic issues, there's a scheduling issues in the arenas. Um, Really, there's no way that you could have, every team play every other team like three times, let's say, to try and actually have parity and everyone's playing each other in even amount. There's no real good way to do it. Plus, you're losing, all the old rivalries um, within the conferences and divisions. So there really is no right answer. But the question comes down, should something be done? Does something need to be done? Or, does it all even out over the long run?
Well, I think people have been hoping that it would even out over the long run, like with East teams getting higher draft picks and hopefully like those new rookies would give them an infusion of talent. Um, and I understand that there is this sort of pressure to even things out because it has been getting pretty bad over the past few years. Um, like Phoenix missed the playoffs with like 48, 49 wins last season. That's brutal. Um, and then we had to watch like who made it in the eighth seed in the East, like the Bucks or whatever. Uh, so yeah, there's definitely a severe imbalance right now to the point of which when I see like a 10th seeded Western Conference team, like I'm like how strong are they compared to an Eastern Conference team? Are they a 3 or a 4 seed? Um, but yeah, there are a lot of like hurdles in the way that I don't know if we should like if they should really be changing all these rules so quickly, right? Because there's a lot of stuff that's going to change in just the next few years. Like even with the like the new TV deal, that's going to change the salary cap drastically. So we don't know how that's going to affect free agency in 2016, right? Uh, you don't want to make all these like changes um, only to have them thrown off in a couple of years by unforeseen circumstances. Um, so I'm kind of okay with the NBA playing it slow for now. Um, you don't want to try and change things too quickly before you know what's going to happen.
Exactly, I totally agree. And the thing is, it is going to even out over the long run. But the thing is, the long run might be 10 years, right? Because it takes a while for these sort of things to flow down and changes really to set in. But also that being said, say you do change the teams, like you're saying, with all the unknowns in terms of TV deals, free agency, new CBA. Again, stars might just leave the Western Conference teams and come to the Eastern Conference teams, and if you just rejigged everything, it gets screwed up. And one of the things that they were talking about in that article is, yeah, we cut down. It would probably be perfect if we cut down the season, and every team played every other team like 2 times.
Yeah, but then
But then you're
you don't want
losing
to cut down on
games.
the season, right?
Well, that's the thing. You're losing games. These owners aren't going to want to do that because they make money off ticket sales, obviously. The
Hmm.
other option is that if every team played each other 3 times, but then you have to add games. We already see all the injuries that are happening. Like, there's no good system. Plus, what if they ever do expansion, right? And there's more teams. Like, it's
Yeah.
just a tricky proposition. But I'm a historian and a classical guy, so I definitely like to have the old rivalries and keep things the way they are. Obviously, we want to have better ideas, but it definitely needs to be understood and what all the implications would be.
Yeah. Plus, like if you go 3 games each team, like that means one team gets 2 home games and the other only gets one. That's not really fair. Um, and let's just say in the next 2 years, let's say uh, a couple moves like could rebalance the conferences. Like let's say Kobe
For sure.
Bryant, Tim Duncan, they retire, right? So the Lakers and the Spurs they come down. Maybe Kevin Durant comes to the East. One or two more free agent. Uh, maybe Philadelphia doesn't suck so bad in a couple of years, and then all of a sudden it's not looking so bad. You don't need to panic anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm right with you there.
Yeah. I would be more interested in their plans to change the draft structure, um, because like I think what Philadelphia is doing is like heinous and unacceptable right now. Like you shouldn't be allowed to put a product that bad on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I don't think, they're playing within the rules. Like, really, they're doing nothing wrong. But for the fans, that's who I feel bad for is the fans, right? So, I mean, it's not a great product that they're fielding. And their season tickets have obviously suffered greatly by that. But, I mean, they're just playing within the rules, doing what they think is in the best interest of their franchise, and they've been trying to win the last few years, and it hasn't worked out for them. Now
Yeah.
they're just trying to not win, and we will see how it works out for them. But I mean, just in general, obviously, I don't like the idea of tanking and not fielding a competitive team. But it might pay off, say 2 years from now, when they're just firing on all cylinders and looking good. And right now, maybe some local Philly fans are getting to see games at more affordable prices until the team rallies.
Yep. Like maybe once the new CBA comes in, they make a couple free agent moves. All their rookies are healthy and playing, and they could be a good team.
Who knows? We might be sitting courtside at a Sixers game this year. That
Those tickets are cheap. Also, shout out to the Raptors for selling out all their season tickets for the year.
was huge.
Yeah. Uh, so the NBA revealed the All-Star jerseys for this year in New York. What did you think of those?
I like them. Like, I haven't liked the jerseys the last few years because they always look so wacky and crazy. Like, they're pretty conservative. They're just a classy, nice looking jersey. Like a jersey I could see myself wearing, and it's just more refined. It's not super crazy. Look at me. It's just a legit jersey. What do
Yeah.
you think?
Well, I like that they don't have sleeves for starters.
Yep.
I just feel like a basketball jersey shouldn't have sleeves.
Yep.
It's a little bit plain, but I think it's kind of cool. It looks kind of like something you'd wear to like a street ball pickup game. It's like just like a jersey with a number on it. And I think that kind of speaks to the New York crowd because you know how they love their pickup basketball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, that being said, last week we were kind of setting the over under and what we thought the odds were that the Thunder would make the playoffs. And it was just announced today that Durant is cleared to play in the upcoming game. Westbrook is already back, killed it over the weekend, and I don't know. Do you think the tide is turning already, or what are your thoughts on the situation?
Uh, I think they can make it now. I think they came back with enough. I think they came back with enough time, right? Because like last week, we didn't know when they were going to come back. We didn't know if it was going to be another 2 or 3 weeks, but it was only one more week, right? So what's their record now? Like 5-14 or something.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, they've got to play hard, and they're in the West, and that's unfortunate. But now that as long as nobody else gets injured and they can, just string together some wins with their stars, like that's a completely different team with Westbrook and Durant, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no. So for the record, I picked them to make the playoffs last week. I still believe in them. It was unfortunate that when they were in Toronto earlier this year, they were fielding their D squad, but good luck to the Thunder.
Yeah, I feel like I was robbed on that ticket, but whatever.
It happens. Well, I think that concludes it for today's episode. Any final words, Deuce?
Not too much. Just hope Demar gets better soon, and hope we take down LeBron on Friday.
I'm right there with you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Keep checking back. We're going to be posting our recaps, as always, after every game. Check us out on Instagram at Dino Bros. Check us out on Twitter at DinoBros_TO and www.youtube.com/DinoBrosTO. And thanks for tuning in as always. Thanks for the support. Dino Bros, boogie out.
Deuce out.